Hi, and welcome today. My name is Tom Scarrella. We're evangelists, Tom and Susie Scarrella, and we just have a passion for revival and seeing God's people touched with it and God's people running with it. In all the years that we've been in full-time ministry and ministering in revival in churches and seeing a reformation come to churches, so many times people have come to us and spoken to us about, really getting touched by the presence of God, and they don't want to go back to that old dead religion and stuff. And so one of the things, that people have brought up about, hey, I've been going to this dead church, I've been part of this dead work, or my friends are all really not living for God or on fire, what should I do? Well, Jesus really gave us the answer to this here in the book of Luke chapter 14. So now listen to this in Luke chapter 14. It says this, now a great multitude went to him, and he turned and said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. I mean, you talk about not politically correct. Jesus was not politically correct. He said, listen, I want there to be no distractions in your life, not even by the closest family members that you have, right? And he says, whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Then he goes on to say this, and he uses this in a great parable. Listen to this. For which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down and first count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation, he's not able to finish? All who see it began to mock him, and saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. And so then it goes on to say, or what king going to make war against another king does not sit down and first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is still a great way off, he sends a declaration and asks for conditions of peace. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all, he cannot be my disciple. And then he goes on to talk about salt is good, but if salt has lost its savor, it's worthless. And he that has an ear to hear, let him hear. So Jesus is saying this, listen, we have to count the cost. We have to count the cost for the presence and power of God. If you really want God's power in your life, you really want to walk with the fire of God, you really want to see signs, wonders, and miracles in your life, and you want to see it around you, and you want to see it in your church, let me say this to you, that the body does not dictate the head what to do. So often we've had people who have come to us and have asked us questions like, well, my pastor's really kind of dead and lukewarm and really not on fire for God and really not going after God, but can I stay on fire and just kind of influence my own local church right from where I am? And here's my response. Does your body tell the head what to do, or does the head tell the body what to do? The body never dictates to the head. The head always dictates to the body. So eventually, if somebody habitually goes to a dead church, they're only going to get one thing. They can only live in one thing. You can't go beyond the head. And so you have to know that. And so that's why Jesus says, listen, you got to count the cost. Do you really want to be a disciple of me, or do you want to be a disciple of man? Do you want to be a disciple of popularity? Do you want to be a disciple of, I'm single and I want to find a husband, or I want to find a wife? Okay, so if that's the case, then you have to decide, are you going to follow Jesus and follow his presence, or follow popularity? And you really have to say that. You have to say, does my church, or do the people I hang with love this book? Do the people I hang with, do they have a passion to live like this? Because that's what's in my heart. And if you're not going this direction, how can two walk together, the Bible says, except they be agreed? What does light have to do with darkness? And this is where people get unequally yoked, not only in relationships, but even as far as in their local church, and then they get frustrated. And then what happens is they have another vision for the church. But guess what? When there's two visions in a church, guess what that's called? Division. You bring division. You're not bringing, just your vision. You're bringing division to the church. Because if the head doesn't get it, then all you're doing is you're splitting the body. Rather than let the head, speak to the head, let the head either get on fire or just wave goodbye and just go where the fire is. like my wife did. My wife moved across America to go where the fire of God was burning. I did the same thing. I looked where the most on fire church was. I wasn't looking for the most popular or the most pleasant message and nobody's offended. If nobody's offended, then you probably know that it's really not following too much of the ministry of Jesus, because pretty much all of the red letters in your New Testament all are very offensive to your natural, carnal, fleshly mind, or to the carnal, natural, fleshly mind. But you're not carnal, you're spiritual, and you're a spirit being, and your spirit responds to the Spirit. And so I want to encourage you, if you love Jesus, if you love God with all your heart, I want to encourage you to do something. Come out of the deadness, come out of your darkness. And maybe if there's nothing near you where the fire is burning, then you know what? Then maybe you need to do something yourself. Start a fire yourself. Start a fire. Start a group of young people. Start a group of your peers, or do something to impact your nation around you. And instead of just complaining about your local church, leave the thing. Let the dead bury the dead. Follow Jesus and plant something on fire. And I'm telling you, you'll be so glad that you did. We love you. We appreciate you. Keep running after the fire of God. Run after revival with all of your heart. Don't back off. Don't get lukewarm. Don't get apathetic. This is the year for revival in your life.